Hello everyone, and thank you for checking out part 2 of my Minecraft server series. Part 1 was the basic Minecraft server, which is just a vanilla server, but today I'm going to be talking about how to make a Bukkit server. A Bukkit server is a custom server where you can add features like editing tools, extra fun stuff, you can have borders on your world, you can many things. Now, I'm going to get to that very shortly. But to start off, we're going to create a folder called Bukkit server, or whichever you want to call it. And in this folder, we're going to put a file called Craft Bukkit that we're going to download from the Bukkit.org website. On this website is where you can get the plugins and you can get the server itself. On the right hand side, you see Craft Bukkit recommended builds. So here's where you want to go, and you want to get the 1.0.1 build. Now click on that, it brings you to this site, and you download the jar file. So we'll just click on that and download, we'll keep. When that's done, you want to go to show in folder. Now I'm using Google Chrome. Whatever you're using, you want to go and get that file. You want to cut it out of there, and you want to put it in your Bukkit server. So I'm just going to paste that in here. Now we need a script file to launch this. Now we can just double click on it and run it, but it's always better to have a script file that launches just in the console window. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with my other video. I'm just going to use the basic start script I made. I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it in here, and I'm going to edit this file. Edit. Now what I want to do is replace Minecraft server with this Craft Bukkit. So I'm going to click on this once, and click on it again, and that will highlight the name. Control C will copy it, and highlight Minecraft server, Control V, and paste. I'm going to save this, and now I'm going to start the server up. It's going to create the initial property files. It's going to create the world, and basically we're going to have the equivalent to a vanilla Minecraft server. But this is step 1. I'm going to break this video down into steps. This is step 1. Getting this file, starting it up, creating your basic files, and then setting them up. So now that this is done, I'm going to type stop, because we want to stop the server before we edit any files. And now you'll see there's plugins, world nether, the end, etc. It's a bunch of files here. This is the same as the other server I did. We got whitelist, we got our server.properties, we got our ops file, banned IPs, banned players. What's different in this one is a file called Bukkit, file called permissions. I'm just going to close this window. Now before we get too far, I want to show you another program. This program is called Notepad++. I find this is very helpful for editing the files for Bukkit servers, and you'll see why soon. But I highly recommend you check this program out. It's a very small program, it's free, and it works very well. I will put the link to this in the description below. So I'm going to close this. We're going to go back to our folder here. Now the Bukkit file itself I open with Notepad++, and you can see it here. This is Notepad++. Here you can change the spawn radius. You just change it here, change it to whatever you want. And the only other thing that I would recommend is allow end. This is the end world that is new to the game. You can say true or false. If you don't want it there, you can just say false. One key thing about these files, these are called YML files. You can't have any tabs in these files. It doesn't work. You need to have spaces. So one thing about Notepad++ is you can go to settings and preferences, and then go to the language menu / tab settings tab, and down here in the bottom right you'll see replace by space. Check that box, and then you won't have to worry about using tabs. You can use tabs freely, and when you save it, it gets replaced by 4 spaces. So we're going to go ahead and save this file. Actually, it's already saved. That file is done. So this is what I would consider the end of step 1. Getting your files, getting your Bukkit server here. This is step 1 complete. Alright everyone, so now we got our basic Bukkit server running, and the next step is to get our plugins and start customizing this server. So back on the Bukkit.org website, there is a tab right here, or a link to get plugins. So you click on this, and here's where you can download a ton of plugins. But the key ones I want to show you are one called World Edit and World Guard. That's what I use on my server. One called Permissions. Permissions X actually is what it's called, the one I use. And Essentials. That's another plugin that has a bunch of things in it. And actually, as you can see down my bar here, I've already downloaded these. But I'm going to go through and download them again. So, we're going to just type in our title up here. We want World Edit, and we want to find World Guard, Essentials, and Permissions X. So I'm going to go through that real quick and get those files, and then we'll carry on with the tutorial. So as you can see here, World Edit, click on that, and it brings up a website where we can see some videos on the plugin, and we can download it. We can just scroll down to right here. You see the little download link. So we'll download this file and click download again, and we're getting World Edit. So we're going to go back by closing these, and we're going to type in World Guard. And we want to get World Guard 5.3. And you'll see up in the title here it has SEC in square brackets. That means security. This is a security plugin. The plugins are categorized by what they do. There's admin, security, fun, extra, there's all kinds of different ones. So we're going to go to download for World Guard and download again. Okay, so we got World Guard, we got World Edit. We'll go back again, and we want Permissions X. There are plenty of permissions plugins out there now. Permissions plugins, they allow you to set permissions for different users and set groups. So some people have access to certain commands, other people can be admins, or you can set up moderators, things like that. I use Permissions EX. It's just what I use. There's no particular reason. It's what I'm using and what I'm used to. So that's what I'm going to show you. Once you get your feet wet a little bit and you know what you're doing, you can check out other plugins. And the last but not least is Essentials. I consider this a good plugin to have on a server. It has spawn commands, it has a home command, there's other commands available in this plugin that's definitely worth having on. Hence the name Essentials. It's an essential plugin. So these are all downloaded. They're all in my downloads folder, which I'm going to bring here. Let me just sort this by details and date. So okay, Essentials, Permissions, World Guard, World Edit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut these out of here, and I want to go back to our Bukkit server and plugins. I'm just going to paste them. Now we have to put them in as jar files, so we have to open these up. So let's do that real quick. Essentials actually has 4 different files. Essentials.jar you need, chat you don't really need, but I'm going to put it on, and spawn. Protect, I'm not going to use that because, actually I'm just going to drag and drop these. I'm not going to use that because I'm going to be using World Guard. So that's done. I'm just going to delete this file. I don't need it anymore. Permissions. You want all 4 of these files. And World Edit. You want craft scripts and World Edit. You don't need the text files there. You can definitely go through and read them though. And World Guard. We just need the worldguard.jar file. Alright, so I'm going to delete these. So that's all of our plugins. So back here in our Bukkit server, what we're going to do now is we're going to start the server up, and by starting the server it's going to load all those plugins, and those plugins are going to create their own properties files on all the config files that they need. They're going to create, and then we're going to go and edit those files. So this is the end of step 2, basically getting your files. Alright guys, now that we got our plugins set up and we get our configuration files in here, which you see there's folders for each plugin, we're going to start configuring these plugins to make them customized for our server. First thing you want to probably do is look into each of these folders. Start with World Guard. Well, that's just what I'm starting with. Now this is going to open with Notepad++. And we're going to go through this file. I'm going to go through this one in a little more detail. The other ones I'm just going to skim through. The key to these files, these YML files, is that they're split up into categories, and then you have like a category and then properties of that category, and then category and properties, and they're separated by, I don't want to use the word tabs because you can't use tabs. They're separated by spaces of four character spaces, and then whatever it is, colon, and the value. So, protection, you can see here we got a few different things. Enforce single session, that means you can't log in twice. Item durability, you can turn that off so your items actually don't break down. Remove infinite stacks, disable XP orb drops, things like this. You can customize these the way you want them. Those things I leave the way they are. I'm happy with that. Chest protection, you can enable that. That means if you put a chest down, no one else can open that chest. WorldGuard will take care of that for you. That's definitely something. If you're going to have a server with lots of people, you might want to put that on. Physics, this allows things like sand. So no physics for sand. It means won't drop, or gravel won't drop. You can change these if you want. Ignition, or you want to make sure you look at this. Block TNT block damage, block TNT in general, and block lighter. If you want a server where you don't have griefers, you probably want to make these true. This is definitely something I always make true, so no TNT will destroy the world and people can't light fires. Regions, this is part of World Edit, and it's something that allows you to select areas and define custom flags to each of these areas. This is something you can look into on your own. It's not necessary for a basic server. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to skip over this, but I'm going to give you access to the website. I'm going to put the link in, and you can look it over at your own leisure. Simulation, same thing. I don't ever really use this. To be quite honest, I don't even know what this really is. It's a sponge. It has to do with the old in-dev, I think, creative version of Minecraft, where you have the sponge, and there's just some things you can do with that. Fire, you want to disable fire spread from lava. You can disable certain blocks from spreading fire, or you can just completely disable all fire from spreading, which is what I do. Pumpkin scuba is where you can use a pumpkin as a scuba gear. That's kind of a neat little thing. You can go underwater. Mobs, anti-wolf dumbness. I really don't know what that does, but I don't really want my wolves to be dumb, so I just put that to true. You can block individual creature spawns by putting the name of the creature in here, separated by commas, or you can block fireball explosions or block damage. I believe that's from gas in the nether. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say, yes, let them explode, because I don't want people to be too brave, but I don't want the block damage. That's the same with creepers. You can say block their block damage, which means when they blow up, they won't destroy your world. Disable Enderman griefing. Definitely I put that on, because you don't want Endermen going around picking up all your blocks. And block creeper explosions. I'll let them explode, but we're going to block their damage. There's other things here, dynamics, disable the grass grow, ice melting, things like that. I just typically leave all this to false. Blacklist, you don't need to worry about this. This is more advanced things that you don't really need to worry about. The weather, you can control if it's always raining. You can disable power creepers, disable weather entirely. I always leave these just the way they are. Crops, this is definitely something, if you're going to do any farming, you want to put true in these two spots. This will disable creature trampling and disable player trampling, which means people can walk on crops, animals can walk on crops, and it won't do any damage to them, which is really good. And the rest of it's pretty much disabling different types of damage to the player, so I'm just going to leave all that as is. So we save our file, and we're going to close this. That's WorldGuard taken care of. World Edit's similar. There's a config file, and you can go through here, and there's a bunch of things I'm not going to really get into. You can go through the website, and all this stuff is explained. Typically, this is pretty good just the way it is. The other one, the important one, is permissions. Here is where we can set up our permissions for our server. The permissions are set up by what's called a node. A node is like a section, a category, and a specific thing. What I'm going to show you, though, I already have one made, and I got it right here. And you basically sort it by groups. So I got groups, members, and then default means this is the default group, and then the permissions for people in that group. Now these are part of the essentials permissions. So this gives the AFK command, back, home, etc. WorldGuard has a stack command, and I'm going to show you the pages where all these permissions are. Like, there's so many I can't go over every one of them, but basically this is how you do it. You have groups, members, or you probably have default. I renamed mine members. And then you have a prefix, options, build equals true, and then I have another group, and these are separated by spaces of 4, and then permissions for moderators, and then inheritance means that it will inherit the permissions of the members group. So moderators have access to all these permissions as well. And you can put in as many groups as you want here. Just keep on adding them. Admin is what gives all permissions. All permissions are granted to admins. And then you set specific users. So you'll see here users, M. Rhodes, that's my character, in the admin group. Tommy Girl is also in the admin group. And I added Lars. Lars is a character on our server, SRALS, that's his nickname. I added him to the moderator group, just as a sample, right? So that's that. So I'm going to put that file in the Bukkit server. I'm just going to replace what's there. Replace. Alright, so that's one is done. So the other one is essentials. It's the same thing, config. And I'm not really going to go through this because this is commented very well. All this green is comments and explains what everything does. So I'm just going to quickly scroll through. You can see what's here. But the key is the format. As long as you understand the format, you can go through and you'll know what to do by, you'll see it's all color coded if you're using Notepad++. So this is a good file to go through here. There is a section about protect, like it's split up into categories. So you get essentials home, you get essentials eco, which is ecology, or economy. It has its own money system you can look into. I'm sorry I can't explain everything. This video would be way too long and my voice would be gone by the end of it. But so we have essentials help, essentials chat, and you can see here, and it's explained very well. Protect. Now because we're using WorldGuard, we're not using the protect, so you can just ignore all this. It's not being used. However, if you do want to use this, you can see here prevent lava flow, water flow, so it has similar options. Let's see, we got more protect stuff. We got essential spawn, so you can see where newbies spawn, welcome message, things like that. So we're going to close this, and I'm going to bring up my websites here, and I'm going to show you some links. So permissions. On the permissions page, I've scrolled down already. There is a wiki. There's a setup tutorial. There's lots of information here on the wiki itself. You can see features, installation, how to use. I'm going to give you this link. WorldGuard has a wiki as well. You see down here, read the WorldGuard wiki. And this will bring you to their wiki. Installation, permissions, and here you can see a list of permissions. So these are the commands, /god, ungod, heal, whatever. And these are the permissions, and you place those in that permissions file I just showed you. Same with emergency, stop fire. I mean, there's a big list. So you can go through this list and you can put in whatever permissions you want. And like I said, they're separated by dots. So each node is separated by a dot. And that's that one. And the other one I want to show you is essentials. Essentials is the same thing. It has a wiki site. It also has, well, basically this is kind of the wiki. But you can see install guide, command reference, command permissions. So I'm going to show you this. And this is broken up. There's a lot of stuff here on this one. You sort it by category, cheat type things, economy ones, general. So, and these are the commands. Big tree, break, whatever, chant, feed, game mode. So you can put all these are the permissions here. You put these in that permissions file. And there's a description. So it's actually pretty basic. It's not too hard. It can seem overwhelming because, as you can see, there's a huge list of stuff here. But just take some time, go through 10-15 minutes. You can figure this stuff out, and you can get yourself a really nice Minecraft server. And don't forget, there's plenty more plugins on that website. I've only shown you a few of the basics, but you know, once you get used to these, you can go from there, and I think you're gonna have a good time with, and then you can set up a pretty custom server. So the only thing left to do is run the server and make sure it works. So let's start her up, and this will be our last stage. So everything loaded fine. Now I'm going to start up my Minecraft game. Alright guys, so here we are. We're testing the server out, and as you can see, I'm on the multiplayer screen. I've already got it in here as local host because that's what I'm running on. And I'll pop in and we'll see if this works. Now the other thing I want to point out, this is very important, is the port forwarding. I'm going to give you a link right now to the port forwarding section of my other video because I think it's very important that you should see that. So, but this is it. This is my Minecraft server. It's loaded up. It's working. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to test a command. See if I can go in God mode. Yeah. God mode enable. And you see, welcome Emeralds to the server. My name is color coded because I'm in the admin group. I have no new mail. That's part of the Essentials plugin. Let's see if I can change the time. There we go. Made it nighttime. Now I'm going to make a day again. So, as you can see, Minecraft server is up and running. And it didn't really take too long. I just explained a very lengthy description of everything, but I apologize for the long video, but I want to make sure I covered as much as I can. And please, please don't put in the forums that I have Mo Creatures working in a Minecraft server, because I don't. I actually have it installed, but the creatures show up when you're playing. You can't do anything with them. It's a glitch. But anyhow, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I really hope this video helps you out. If you have any questions or comments, please write them down in the comment section below. Also, if you want to help support me, if you appreciate this video, clicking on the ads goes a long way. It does help me out, and I really appreciate any extra support. Like the video, subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed, and just let me know what you think. So thanks for watching, guys, and happy Minecrafting.